This right here is the confluence of the 110-mile-long Wolf River and the mighty Mississippi River over here. The Wolf River snakes along from right below the Tennessee-Mississippi border, up through Tennessee, through Memphis, where it ends right here.
See, when you look from above, you can actually see it here, dividing neighborhoods and bending roads, forming the geography of Memphis just as much as the Mississippi and the Bluff. That said, if you're not from here, there's probably a 0% chance you've even heard of the Wolf River, and if you are from here, you probably don't think about it very much. Passing over it in most of the city, you only get a quick glimpse of water, and the actual channel rarely gets wider than 25 to 30 yards, so it might seem a little insignificant, but I've found that, as with most things, the closer you look, the more there is to see. And there's a lot worth seeing when it comes to this ecosystem.
You didn't get enough of us last month, you decided you'd come back and take some more punishment.
Yeah. Now for this video, I got up early and joined this group of Memphis locals on a day-long float through one of the most locally famous parts, the Ghost River section.
Wow, that was cool.
This group float is put on by the Wolf River Conservancy. They host a float the first Saturday of every month, and it is super helpful to have a group, especially when it comes to shuttling cars and navigating some of the trickier parts of the river. That said, I have done sections by myself, and none of it is that difficult, but there are some turns that would be pretty easy to overlook, and especially with this section, at least for a first-timer, this was a good way to do it. In a lot of parts of the river's upper and middle regions, multiple channels kind of wind through these expansive bottomland hardwood forests. This creates super important wetland habitat for all types of animals and migrating birds, and it makes for a beautiful little retreat from the city life that seems to disappear once you're in here. And it's crazy how much the ecosystems actually vary from place to place. You got true wetland species of trees such as cypress and tupelo that are able to live in these wet conditions for most of their lives. And you've got hardwood trees such as chestnut oak and water oak that are very tolerant of flooding but can't survive constant aquatic habitat. So you've got some pieces of this ecosystem that exist at slightly higher and drier elevations, and you've got some that exist in the areas that are flooded almost year-round. Another cool thing about this ecosystem is that Memphis is said to have some of the best water quality in the country, and that's in part because of these wetlands and the Wolf River filtering contaminants and recharging the aquifer. Now back to the actual float, getting to know some members of the Conservancy is also an advantage of seeing the river in this way. The Conservancy has been around since 1985, and it formed out of a group of volunteers who were protesting a gravel mine and different developments that would have destroyed this habitat and channeled the river into a shell of what it's supposed to be, not allowing it to fluctuate and flood the way it should. Once you're out here on the river, it is amazing how few spots you see any evidence that you're not just out in the middle of nowhere and that you are in fact in a major city. Most of these sections take about half a day to a day, and there's very little drama to it. There's no whitewater or craziness, nothing that'll make for an epic post on Instagram, just some gentle paddling through some surprisingly pretty woods, and the occasional downed tree to hop over and go around. I use an inflatable paddleboard and it works great, especially when dealing with these downed objects because of how light it is. I can just stand off to the bank and toss it over. But everyone else here uses kayaks, so I'm a little weird in that respect, but it just shows you can use what you have. I floated a couple times by myself and a couple times with the group, and something about doing this has really struck a chord with me. See, I'm not from Memphis. I live here because the company I work for is headquartered here. And my line of work through my 20s has always had me traveling a lot and living in some majorly beautiful places all over the country. So being here in Memphis for a few years has been an adjustment. And there are plenty of things I like about being here, but over time, I've found myself becoming less and less enamored, and I've noticed that day to day I'm starting to daydream more about the places I've been and the places I want to go. Over time, I also stopped exploring and learning about this area, and I kind of resigned myself to doing the same old city stuff, just going to work and going home, and I've been treating this as a place I happen to be for now and not as a home, and I don't think that's good. I'm likening this to the Wolf River itself, because when you start to look closely, you can actually appreciate the little things that are right there. This is my goal for myself, and the river is a great example of how living in the present can have a positive effect on your own future and the world around you. I mean, this small strip of life exists because 40 years ago, some people decided that where they were and what they had was worth something and needed to be protected and enjoyed.